This is my lab, and as you can see it's very bad. So that is the reason why I spent many weeks, hundreds of euros on moving, painting, building a workbench, putting in ventilation, buying chemicals, buying equipment to make the ultimate lab. Step 1 is to move out. So moving out is basically very easy. All I had to do is to take all of my stuff, put it in boxes, and bring it down to the basement. It only took me 2 days. Step 2 is to mask and seal everything, which is very easy. All you have to do is to cover whatever you don't want to get painted with paper and masking tape, and then you gotta get a caulking gun, put in a tube of silicone sealant, and put it around the cracks and gaps in your walls. Step 3 is painting. So all you have to do is just to pour in some paint into a bath and use a roller to paint everything. But this is actually pretty exhausting, and it took me a couple of days and a few layers to get the color just right. But then my paint ran out, so I needed to get a new can. It's not cheap, it's about 30 bucks. So I poured it in, started painting, and everything went very smoothly from now. And as you can see, after a few hours of painting, my respirator was covered in drops of paint, and even my hands and clothes were literally covered in white drops. And then I painted the second coat, which made the color way more vibrant. But then the second can of paint ran out, so I stopped painting for today. And even worse, there was a very big storm happening outside, which is super crazy, cause it was about the middle of the summer, and it should be warm. But no,
Oh my god.
it's just flooding, and it also was super cold. And it looks like a small lake in my backyard. As you can see, was, kinda deep, like a few centimeters.
Huh, interesting,
And yeah, some places were flooded very deep. But then after a few days, I bought a new can of paint and started painting again. Then I started to paint this third coat of paint, but I only painted it on one wall. Then I tore up all of the paper that I glued to the floor because I needed to put on some masking tape and paint the edges on the bottom because I couldn't reach them with the paint roller. Then I tore all of the tape off, and there you go, my lab was painted and it only costed me 90 euros. Step 4, move back in, and that was very easy. I did it in a couple of hours. Step 5, building a workbench. At first I drew some plans and started measuring out some pieces of board, but then my dad came and he kind of freestyled everything and he built it in like a couple of hours. Then I had just to paint all of the exposed wood and it would be done. There you go, my table is done. Step 6, install ventilation. So I bought this duct fan which is about 100 millimeters big, and as you can see it blows pretty strongly. Also got this aluminum air duct, which is not the best, but it's all I could find. And when I was installing it, I dropped the fan straight on a few items and it broke them, but it wasn't anything expensive, so I wasn't too mad. And I wasn't really mad because I knew I could just glue it back together with some super glue. As you can see, the fan is mounted, and when I turn it on, it buzzes, and as you can see, it pulls a pretty big amount of air. Step 7, buying new equipment and chemicals. At first, I just ordered some regular glassware, which is just some beakers, bottles, glass bottles, stir rods, page strips and flasks, but I noticed that there was something missing, which was a 2-liter beaker. So the next day I got it in the mail and I unpacked it, and I was like very surprised because it was so big. And then a week later I went to the flea market and there was this guy selling some Soviet glassware, and he sold me all of this for only 15 euros, which is very awesome because this could cost up to a few hundred euros if I would buy it new. And some of the glassware was made by this old company called Druzhnaya Gorka, which in English means friendly hill or friendly mountain, which is just a super weird name for a lab supplier. And then a few weeks later, the same guy sold me all of this glassware for only $8. So in total, I spent 23, which was a super big steal. And at first, I just washed the glassware in the soapy water, because some of it had some white residues, which could be either just like calcium carbonate or some unknown chemicals. And you could just see how many things I got. So the first box contains some glass H tubes, some weird test tubes, which are like double test tubes, and this super weird glass apparatus, which I still need help identifying. The second box contains 40 glass test tubes, which have a gas adapter on their side, so they're pretty useful, but I don't think that I'll ever need these many. The third box contains some gas generators, And also this one gas generator, which is missing a stopper, and also it has three small condensers which are the size of a finger, and also some glass stoppers. The last box contains a super big amount of different glass tubes and adapters, and some of the tubes are super big. As you can see, they're super long, and I literally have no idea what they're used for. And the last things that I got is this bottle with a ground glass joint and some glass stir rods. I also got this drill from Parkside because my old one sucks and sometimes it smokes when you use it, so I really needed a new drill. And then I got some consumable items like gloves, alligator clips, plastic containers, batteries, potassium metabisulfite, glycerin, technical spirits, and some TCCA chlorine tablets. And then my package from Onyx Smith came, and I was super happy, even more happy than when I got that old Soviet glassware. And I of course opened it up, pulled out the bags which contained some bottles, and this is what I got: some sodium iodide, potassium bromide, and potassium ferric cyanide. So there you go. Now my lab is equipped to do almost any chemistry procedure, unless it's doing fluorine chemistry, because fluorine chemistry is nearly impossible. Bye.